Welcome to another episode of the Daily Chat Podcast, where we talk about all things awesome and nerdy. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a returning guest. Say hi to Tom Whalen, everyone. Sorry.
That's all right.
Tom Whale.
One time I had a friend whose mom was a novelist, and she liked my name so much that she put it in one of her books, but it wasn't Whalen, she wrote Wellen.
Oh.
So maybe you were just channeling that.
Maybe I was.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have Tom on, and usually whenever we have Tom on, we're talking about something very specific, and it's not comic books for once. Tom, I feel like whenever you come on, we talk about something else that we love a lot on the show, which is video games.
Yeah, very important to me.
Very important to you, very important to me as well. Spent way too much of my childhood sitting in front of a screen trying to figure out how to pull that fatality off with Scorpion.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, Tom...
I still remember the cheat code in Grand Theft Auto. R1, L2, L1, R2, left, down, right, up for unlimited weapons.
Oh, yeah?
Isn't it funny how you do something enough?
Well, find me one gamer under the age of 27 who doesn't know the Konami code by heart.
Under the age of 27?
Under the age of 27.
Well, I'm 28.
I mean, over the age of 27, excuse me. That's what I meant.
I don't know it.
Down, up, left, right, A, B, select, start. A, B, select, start.
This was for which game?
Like every Konami game.
Oh, every Konami game.
That's why it's called the Konami code. It was the same cheat code in every one of their games from like 1992 to like yesterday, pretty much.
Yeah.
But we're not here to talk about cheat codes of yesteryear because... well, let's be real here. Nowadays, the cheat code is your debit card. So,
sure, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Fuck you, paywalls.
Right.
But instead, we are here to talk about what is probably my favorite genre, actually, of video game at all. And it's all subsequent subgenres as well, which is the first-person shooter.
Yep.
So, Tom and I, this is another list show, everybody. Because the internet hates lists. No, the internet loves lists.
Yeah, I wonder why that is.
People just like to bitch and complain about each other's opinions. That's really all it is.
That's true. That's very true.
So right now we are going to be counting down each of our picks for the top 5 most influential first-person shooters ever.
Yeah. So it's not the best one. It's just most influential.
Yeah, exactly. And we are only doing one per franchise.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So shall I get things started, Tom?
Yeah, go right ahead,
okay.
please.
So for me, my number 5... we're going way, way back, and some people are going to have to forgive me because I was mostly and always a console kid growing up. But this one has to be on the list, I feel. GoldenEye 007 for the N64. If for any reason at all, like this game, can we be real here? Like I remember playing this game once, like maybe 10 years ago. Back during the whole Xbox 360 generation.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it, and I'm not going to lie to you people, it has aged like crap.
Yeah, of course.
It has aged like many of the N64 games.
Well, also, you looked both up and down and side to side with the right stick.
Yeah, and honestly, that was a feature that carried over with the Metroid Prime series.
Yeah.
Which kind of annoyed me because at that point the GameCube had 2 sticks. So you could have looked around. But there was also the hack, though, that you could use the C buttons to look around, too, though.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I figured that out because you could use the C buttons to strafe and look up and down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, not many people knew about that little hack.
Yeah, and there was
auto aim and everything like that.
Well, and they had some cool game modes,
Well, the biggest reason why this game was so influential was because up until this point, first-person shooters were strictly a PC thing.
Right.
The WSAD mouse getup. This game actually proved that, that console could actually support a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
And then every game after that just more or less copy and pasted the formula. And arguably the most important aspect of that game, besides that fact, was it introduced the idea of a competitive split-screen multiplayer. I mean, how many hours did you...
Golden Gun?
Oh, dude. Yeah. We had the number one rule was nobody gets to pick Odd Job.
Yeah.
Nobody picks Odd Job.
I would pick Jaws every now and again.
Yeah.
You know?
I picked Dr. No.
Yeah, what was the name of the guy, the Russian nerd?
Boris.
Boris, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I never picked him because I hated him.
Yeah, everybody hated him. He was lame.
He sucked.
Yeah, he did. On top of that, too, actually, a rare thing for a video game, it actually had a really good campaign, and it was based on a movie.
Yeah.
And not only was it based on a movie, the movie came out 2 years earlier.
So weird.
Yeah, like, that's normally not the norm. It's usually, like a movie will be expected to come out in, like, April, and, like, in January, the studio's like, hey, you game developers...
It came out 2 years later after GoldenEye came out?
Yeah, it did, which is like, why would you do that? Like, but the campaign more or less followed the plot of the movie pretty spot on, and on top of that, too, like, the level design was just actually good.
Yeah.
Like, and this is something that, like, here it is, like, 20 years later, we don't see that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I understand, like, the whole idea of why they would want to make a video game to tie in with a movie, because, like, it's just another idea of sell more toys.
Yeah.
Sell more toys, but it's like, the problem I always have with it is, like, you guys have, like, a year or two to make a movie, but you only give these video game developers, like, 6 months to make a game.
Right.
Like, that's not enough time to make a good one. Especially nowadays when you have to factor in so many, like, physics and things like that. You know.
Yeah.
So that's why it's on my list. It introduced the first true, like, not online, but it introduced the first real multiplayer, localized multiplayer for video game consoles, and proving that first-person shooters could work on a console.
Yeah.
And every game after that, and every other game on this list pretty much afterwards, perfected those ideas.
Right.
All right.
Right.
So your number 5 now, Tom?
My number 5 is, I kind of want to do a 2-for-1 here with Doom and Quake.
Okay.
But I'm going to go with Doom. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think partially because I just loved it growing up. I loved playing Doom. And it was very, it was like a horror based game. And like, I really can't think of any other horror shooters before that, you know what I mean? Or really even after that for a little while.
I mean, it's a game all about going into hell.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, I personally don't know if I would call Doom a true horror game. I would put it in the sense of, like, I don't consider movies like Friday the 13th true horror.
It was scary to me.
It was scary. I mean, yeah, of course, we were like 5 at the time.
Yeah.
But, like, what I mean is it's like, I kind of put that more in the category of, like, slasher. Personally, but I get what you're saying, though. It's creepy when you're a kid, like, seeing the giant monsters and everything
and
like
just
that.
like the big fireball monster, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, the giant floating fat head with like 90 billion eyes. Like,
exactly.
It's creepy, yeah.
Yeah, but, so that one, I mean, and it's just like the way the controls worked on it, the way, you could find... I like how there were like a lot of Easter eggs, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's just a classic, so I had to put that as my number 5.
No, I understand that completely. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to have interesting words about this later on, but moving on to my number 4, I'm going to go with BioShock, the first one.
Okay.
Because what this game did was, I remember when it first popped up, and this was actually the game that critics were actually turning to in order to, what's the phrase I'm looking for? They were trying to put forth the argument that no, video games are in fact art, can be an art form now. Sure. And this was the game where like people were finally putting their foot down and saying, play this game, and I dare you to tell me that this isn't an art form.
Right.
You know, that's always open up for debate. Like, I mean, I know it took movies a long time before they finally got considered to be an art form, but let's be real here. You know, even in movies, there's still, you know, there's still crap. There's still schlock, and there's always going to be schlock in, like, video games and everything like that.
What's schlock?
Like, just mindless entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the non-think pieces. Like, in other words, like, say what you want about it. I enjoy the movie, too, but, dude, where's my car? That would be a piece of schlock.
Oh, okay.
Or anything by Michael Bay.
Right.
Yeah, like, I mean, you know, don't get me wrong. Explosions are always cool and awesome, but sometimes, you know, you need some character depth and whatnot, you know.
Sure.
Like,
is that Yiddish?
Schlock? I have no idea. I wouldn't be surprised if it's Yiddish.
It sounds like it's Yiddish.
Yeah, it probably is.
Yeah.
But, you know, first off, BioShock, this was like the first first-person shooter that I personally played that... Don't slam them down too hard.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
I'll just keep it off.
Yeah. this was the first game I personally played, the first-person shooter I played that really incorporated some serious RPG elements into it. In fact, I think around the same time or not long after, Borderlands came out. And the way I look at it is, Borderlands was an RPG with first-person shooter elements. BioShock is more of a first-person shooter with RPG elements.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and this one also had a serious morality problem in this game too. Don't you spare the little... If, you spare the little sister to get the happy ending, but you get less magic points for it.
Yeah.
Or do you harvest the little sisters and get the evil ending? So
yeah. One time, I have a funny story about BioShock, kind of. So I was living in Westchester with a married couple and then another couple, a boy and a girl. They loved video games. Mm-hmm. So one day I was kind of just playing Xbox on their Xbox 360, trying to just find something to do. And I found BioShock. So I click on BioShock. And, there were a couple saved games, so I didn't want to start from the beginning. So I just I just picked one, right? Go through... start playing it, play through 10 minutes, all of a sudden the game just ends. It was already the end of the game.
Oh, yeah?
I think my roommates played through that whole game, got to right before it ended, and were like, all right, we'll save this for later. And I ended up going in and finishing the game off.
Oh, Jesus.
And there was no way to get back to it. There was no way to get back to that area. And they were so mad. Yeah, it was yeah.
I have a similar story to that where I let a friend of mine borrow my copy of Mario 64.
Yeah.
I had 120 stars and they were 150 you were supposed to get.
Yeah. Kid
deleted my profile.
No. Well, one time when Pokemon was super popular, on Game Boy, my friend Matt was it was he was at the Elite Eight or whatever.
Oh yeah, the Final Four or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there, and my friend Matt, he let me play, and you know how they're always do not turn off while it's saving.
Yeah.
I think I can't remember what happened. I dropped it and the batteries fell out, or it shut off somehow while it was saving, and he lost his entire game. He was so mad at me.
I'd probably punch you in the nose for it.
Yeah. He was a little man. He was a little guy. But, yeah.
So, moving on to your number 4.
I'm going to go with Unreal Tournament because that was, I believe, the first first-person shooter that really relied on multiplayer.
Right.
And being, battle situations and... using physics, you would get those, the trampolines and or not trampolines, basically what Halo started utilizing really heavily with the, what's the word I'm looking for? Elevators.
Oh, the grav lifts?
Yeah, where it would be
the main canyons, grav lifts.
Exactly, yeah. And things like that, traps and stuff. Just Unreal Tournament was a really good game. It was the first to use the Unreal Engine, which so many people use.
I need to get closer.
Which so many people use now. Mm-hmm. And sorry, I've been leaning back for you guys listening out there. I've just been chilling too hard.
Yeah. There you go. Now you sound better.
Yeah, and anyways, Unreal Tournament. I'm gonna give you the number 4 spot.
Okay. Moving on to my number 3, even though I never really played a whole lot of this one, I played its sequel a lot, I'm going with Half-Life.
Half-Life, okay.
Half-Life, mainly just because this game, this was the precursor to what I was saying about BioShock.
Yeah, this was a Steam game, right?
Not Steam. Who's the company that owns Steam? What is it? I know it. Valve. It's a Valve game, yeah. And by the way, we're never getting Half-Life 3, people. I'm sorry.
Why do you say that?
Because Valve can't count to 3.
Oh,
that's the joke. They came out with Half-Life. They came out with Portal 1, then they came out with Portal 2, and that was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
They came out with Left 4 Dead, then Left 4 Dead 2.
I loved Left 4 Dead. Oh, I kind of want to put that in my list now. I loved Left 4 Dead.
But at any rate, the point is with Half-Life is it changed the way the narrative was supposed to be for first-person shooters in general, or FPSs, however you want to abbreviate it. Simply because this game didn't rely on cutscenes at all, and if it did rely on cutscenes, it still gave the player control of the camera.
Yeah.
So it just doubled down on the immersion. I mean, other games on this list, we'll see them coming up. Like, they either had no cutscenes, or they had a very weak story, or, they still relied on cutscenes, which is fine either way, just as long as you get the message of the story across.
Right.
But, this was, the true, the absolute silent protagonist who just gets thrown into a shitty situation, and now you got to fight your way out of it. But, like I said before, the immersion level was on top because it didn't cut you out of the movie at all. It just straight up kept the game flow going and kept the narrative going.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I would put it up there. But my biggest complaint, though, always about Valve, though, is they really just don't seem to give a shit about when they release a game on console, which kind of bothers me. It's like, why would you even bother?
Yeah.
Just because, and this is just me going off topic a little bit, but... I remember when Portal 2 came out, my friends and I, we made a big deal about it. We got it for our 360s, and then all of a sudden we're finding out that new levels are coming out, but they're not coming out for the Xbox. They're only coming out for PC.
Yeah, that sucks.
It's like, why would you even waste your time releasing it on console at all? Like, you're totally... I'd pay money for those extra levels.
Yeah.
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 All right. So, your number 3 now, Tom?
My number 3 is going to be Fallout 3.
Fallout 3. Okay.
Because... I think Fallout 3 was just the first. It was the first game to kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Emulate how we all see Fallout now, which is huge open world from a first person perspective. It was one of the first games to allow you to modify guns. Mm-hmm. It was. Skill trees. I don't know many games that had an in-depth skill tree up to that point.
I think any RPG did at that point.
But not ones that were first-person shooters.
Right,
exactly.
I
don't know,
I mean, well, when did Borderlands come out? Didn't they come out
after Fallout 3?
Okay.
Fallout 3, I think, was 2004 or 2005.
Let's find out. Fallout 3 release date.
Maybe 2006. But...
October 28th, 2008.
2008?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And then what was...
Let's find out Borderlands.
No, because Borderlands was then probably
2009.
Oh, okay. So it was
they weren't that far apart, so this was in October. Actually, no, they were almost to the date, a year apart from each other.
Really?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but then there was New Vegas, Fallout New Vegas. There was, but... I think Fallout 3 was just it was the first one that I really fell in love with. So I'm going to put that as my number 3.
Okay, I haven't played that one yet, but I've played a fair amount of 4.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think part of the reason is you grew up in the same area that I did, the geographic area. It's always just cool seeing a game that takes place in an area you're familiar with.
Well, they're actually... they have real spots like the Saugus Ironworks. My dad grew up in Saugus in Fallout 4. Mm-hmm. Fallout 4.
My dad grew up in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
You mean your dad grew up in Boston?
In Saugus.
Yeah,
which is in Fallout 4. I mean, Saugus is just right outside of Boston.
Right, exactly.
And I grew up in Beverly, which is, they don't actually put Beverly in it, but it's right next to Salem, so you can kind of, I can kind of act like I...
Right, exactly. I mean, of course, there's no movie, TV show, or video game that takes place in Boston that is complete without a trip to Fenway Park.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, in all honesty, I kind of laugh at it because in Fallout 4, the whole idea that the capital city would become Fenway Park, I'm like, no, that kind of...
Probably would.
That probably would. Either that or my other option would be maybe the garden, which... That's not in the game, by the way, Fallout 4.
Very weird.
Yeah, why wouldn't they have the garden?
Because wasn't it supposed to be this apocalyptic thing happened?
That a nuke goes off and blows up all of Massachusetts.
Maybe it fell on.
Maybe. Maybe it fell right on the garden.
Yeah.
But you think...
Lakers fans.
Damn it. Apparently Russia are huge Lakers fans.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, there was actually a rumor, though, that, and I was kind of disappointed about it, that there was a rumor that one of the expansion packs for Fallout 4 was going to actually go into Rhode Island.
Oh.
Which kind of makes sense because it's they're not that far apart from each other, but
I'd rather New Hampshire, dude.
I'd
rather New Hampshire, dude.
Well, why not? Why couldn't you have Manchester and Providence?
Yeah, I guess so.
That could be... Because there's nothing in either one of those cities.
Yeah. Manch Vegas, baby.
Manch Vegas.
Fallout Manch Vegas. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, so what's your number 2, Kyle?
My number 2 is actually going to be Halo 2.
Yes. This was... I was a little bit upset when I heard you wanted to do this because I loved Halo 2. I played countless hours, 6 to 10 hours every day for an entire summer.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Now, for me, the reason why I'm putting Halo 2 on this list instead of Halo 1, Halo 1 basically took everything I said about GoldenEye and perfected it. Fine. Like, GoldenEye basically proved, no, first-person shooters on consoles is possible.
Yeah.
And then Halo 1 Combat Evolved just completely and utterly kicked the door down and said, this is how it's done.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Full stop. And then every other game after Halo pretty much, like, copy and pasted the formula, even to an extent, like its biggest competitor, what would become its biggest competitor, Call of Duty.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, like, you know, using two thumbsticks to look around and walk.
Are they really competitors though?
They were competitors for a while. Like, it was, because remember back...
I always had both.
Well, because here's the thing, like, at least amongst my friends, you're either Team Halo or Team Call of Duty, personally.
I disagree with
that. This was just my friends back in college. Yeah. But at any rate, at this point, it doesn't matter anymore because, you know, people are kind of sick of both franchises to an extent, I would say. But, you know...
sick of... I don't think so.
I mean, it's weird. Like you always get those one group of people that's like, oh, I can't believe they're coming out with another Call of Duty game that I have to buy.
Yeah. Have you played Black Ops 4 yet?
I have not played Black Ops 4
really
yet.
good.
I haven't played a Call... Honestly, I haven't purchased a Call of Duty game since... I want to say since Black Ops 2.
Well, it's funny that you should mention Black Ops 2.
Well, hold on. I'm not done yet here. The reason why I'm putting Halo 2 on this list is because it took everything Halo 1 did, made it better, and then on top of that, furthered everything with consoles by just showing, hey, we can have online competitive multiplayer.
Say. Yeah.
We can have online competitive multiplayer. And to be quite honest with you, Halo 2 has a very special place in my heart because this is how my friends and I in college all got to know each other really well. Because although at the time, this was like 2006, everybody, so the idea of free Wi-Fi all over a college campus was still a relatively new thing, and it was also harder for my college, St. Michael's, to implement a Wi-Fi because we were right next door to an Air Force base.
Yeah.
So like that took a lot of zoning things to work out. But at any rate, what was always cool about it though was the fact that we could plug in our Xboxes into the school's Ethernet jacks. And all of a sudden, boom, we have like the biggest LAN party in all of Vermont going on.
Yeah.
And the best part always was, at the time, my handle was, I believe I went by the name of Fungus at the time.
Fungus.
And it was always fun, like, going to a party, talking with some kid, and like all of a sudden the conversation of Halo would come up, and they'd be like, oh yeah, I fucking love Halo 2. But there's this one asshole named Fungus who always kills me, and then he teabags me every time. And then, of course, you go like, hey, dude, I'm Fungus. And you just ruined the guy's like evening for the next like 5 minutes.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
So that for me is part of the... So I will admit partially it is like a nostalgia thing for me as to why I put Halo 2 on there. But there is also the fact that, like I said, it just took competitive multiplayer, online multiplayer to a whole nother level.
I agree.
And then, you know, of course, the now infamous dual wielding concept, which Halo has now done away with completely since 3.
Yeah. I loved Halo 2. I made some of my like closest online friends on Halo 2.
There's also the fact that the campaign, despite, you know, nobody liking that cliffhanger ending, was still pretty solid.
I never played campaign. I was just strict multiplayer.
I mean, my attitude is like, if you've got it, I might as well check it out.
Right.
Yeah. And I will, and that's the other thing about me when it comes to Halo versus Call of Duty. Say what you want about their multiplayers. Halo always at least puts in a greater effort with their campaigns, I feel. At least they feel like they're supposed to be more than 6 hours.
Yeah.
Like, you know, whereas like Call of Duty, it's like, you know, the reverse of GoldenEye and its multiplayer was just an afterthought. Whereas Call of Duty, I always feel like the campaigns are an afterthought.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know, like you said, nobody plays Call of Duty for the multiplayer, for the
campaign.
For
a campaign.
Yeah, no.
I play for zombies and then multiplayer.
Exactly.
Zombies is number one. So, you know, speaking of Call of Duty, I'm going to pick a Call of Duty as my number 2.
Okay.
But mine is going to be Black Ops 2 because I think Black Ops 2 was the first Call of Duty Zombies game to really transcend into that like puzzle, problem solving, you know, because you have to be like really a good problem solver to play zombies now.
Right.
For a little bit before, like when what was that original World at War?
Yeah.
World at War was the first zombies mode. And then Black Ops 1 had, Kino der Toten and all those, which were great, but you didn't have to really do any, like, problem solving. And then in Black Ops 2, it was like, okay, it became a little bit more in-depth. So that's why I'm going to go with that. I also, love the multiplayer. The customization that you were able to do in that one was pretty incredible.
Honestly, I think Black Ops 2 came out around the same time as Halo 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think it...
I want to say Black Ops 2 came out in, 2010.
Let's find out.
Or 2011?
Black Ops 2 release date. Yeah, November 12th, 2012.
Oh, wow.
And Halo 3...
2009?
No, not Halo 3. I'm sorry. I meant Halo 4.
Oh, Halo 4. Okay.
Halo 4. Yeah, Halo 4 came out a week earlier.
Yeah.
So I remember, as I just said, being a Halo fanboy, I picked Halo, and, having a limited source of income, I picked Halo 4 over getting... Now, here's the thing. Halo 4's campaign gets a little bit of flack, but I personally enjoyed it. Its multiplayer was shot because that's the Halo game where they tried implementing
Forge?
No, Forge was in Halo 3, and Forge is always fine. Halo 4 was the one where they tried to implement the idea of customizable loadouts a la Call of Duty.
Call of Duty, yeah.
But they were weak ass when you compared the two, because I remember a year later I played Black Ops 2.
Yeah.
And the customization on that game was so much better.
Yeah.
Because... with Halo, all you could do with the loadout is, what gun do you want? Okay, you get this basic stock on, say you wanted the battle rifle. You just get the stock battle rifle. The only thing you could really change on it would be...
what grenades you wanted.
No, I'm talking strictly just, say you wanted to make a loadout and have the battle rifle. And, okay? I mean, yes, you could adjust the grenades and everything like that. But what I'm saying is when you picked the battle rifle... the only thing you can change on it was the paint job, the skin.
Yeah.
You couldn't be all like, "Hey, I want an extended mag. I want a different kind of scope on it," or anything like that. It was just, here's the battle rifle. You can paint it. That's it.
Yeah.
But then Black Ops 2 was all, "Hey, here's an assault rifle. Do you want a sniper scope on it? Do you want an ACOG on it? Do you want a holographic sight? Do you want a better grip on it to improve your accuracy, etc., etc., etc."
Yeah, quick reload. Yeah,
exactly.
What's it called? Yeah. I mean, it was definitely just a little bit more in depth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so that's my number 2. My number 2 is Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
Okay. Before we get to our number ones, I would like to give one honorable mention, and this is going to sound kind of ironic coming from somebody who has just basically said he prefers the other franchise. But I'm actually going to go with Modern Warfare 2 for an honorable mention, just because that game took everything to another level when it came to online multiplayer. It definitely improved upon the idea of customizing your loadouts and everything like that, and it just took a whole nother level of... it just added a whole nother level of competitive play to everything. So
sure. And I'm gonna have an honorable mention too. Mine is gonna be the real only comedy first-person shooter that's worth a damn. Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem.
Yeah. I'm here to kick ass and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Yeah, the biggest irony of that, though, is every single one of Duke Nukem's lines is completely ripped off from another action movie.
Yeah, probably.
But that's part of his charm. I mean, did you ever finally play Duke Nukem Forever?
Yeah, I played that back in the day.
How was it? I remember getting... I heard it was very run-of-the-mill.
Yeah, nothing super special.
Yeah, from what I understood, it was kind of as if they tried to bring Ren and Stimpy. It was a 2011 release game, and it's like they tried to bring back Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah.
The style of humor just doesn't work anymore.
Right.
I mean, it's just I did see some of the Easter eggs, though, where they're talking about how power armor is for pussies and everything like that.
Yeah.
But...
yeah, that's that is my honorable mention.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So our number ones for me, I'm going to go with drumroll, please, Kyle. Doom.
Oh, so you did Doom as your number 1?
I did Doom as my number 1 simply because this is the game. All first-person shooters, in my personal opinion, bow down to this one. Simply because, I'm sure there were other first-person shooters out there first before this one, but this is the one that just knocked the hinges off the door.
Okay.
And honestly, let's be real here. I mean, I know Mortal Kombat gets all the credit for it, but let's be real here. Doom had a huge hand in the creation of the ESRB. Had a fair...
Oh, yeah.
It definitely did. So, like, the whole, not even just that it was scary, just it was hyper violent.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you're running around with, like, most other first-person shooter games nowadays, like, the first weapon you get, at least the more RPG-ish leaning ones, is you always get, like, either a crowbar or a wrench or a hammer, some sort of bludgeoning item.
Yeah.
Doom, it's like, here's a chainsaw.
Right.
Here's a fucking chainsaw. Like,
right, yeah.
Yeah, and then on top of that, too, how can we not forget about the BFG?
The big fucking gun.
The big fucking gun, yes, exactly. The game that a gun that pretty much just launches a nuclear blast at its enemies.
Yeah.
And you can clear a whole fucking room with it and everything like that.
Yeah.
I mean, and on top of that, too, I guess in some sort of weird way, I would also have to put this on the similar pedestal to the 2016 remake.
Yeah.
In a lot of weird ways. Just because, like, the thing I love most about Doom is, all honesty, like, say what you want. I love Fallout, and I like all these other open world games like Grand Theft Auto and stuff. It's just sometimes, I just want to, like, go forward and shoot shit.
Sure.
That's all I want to do. I don't want to plot. I just want to go forward. And the thing I love most about Doom, the remake, is the fact that every single time the plot tries to rear its ugly head, Doom Guy breaks it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I also love how, let's be real here, like, we have other characters named, like, Gordon Freeman, the Master Chief. This guy's just called Doom Guy. That's
Doom
it.
Guy.
Doom Guy. Like, I mean, I know, like, in some of the games they try to refer to him as Doom Slayer, but, like, let's be real here. Like, Doom Guy is just such a non-metal name, it becomes metal again.
Yeah, Doom Guy.
Doom Guy.
Yeah.
It's almost along the... Similar to, like, what you were saying about Duke Nukem. It's kind of a name that you expect... what was his name? He was in the Spider-Man... He was in all the Spider-Man movies. Bruce Campbell.
Oh,
It's kind of... It sounds like a Bruce Campbell type of role.
Yeah.
It's like, who are you? I'm Doom Guy, baby.
I'm Doom Guy.
Yeah. So that's my number one.
Yeah, and my number one is going to be also a game from the early 90s. Wolf 3D. Wolfenstein 3D. This was the first game... This is the most influential for me because this was the first game that my dad ever let me play.
Okay.
And it's funny. It's like, I'd watch him play it. And he'd be good. And it taught us to hate Nazis, which is great.
Always important. That's always something we're very strong advocates of on the Daily Chat podcast.
Oh, for sure. And
Am I aware of the irony of preaching hate towards this particular group of people? Yes, but they're Nazis, so fuck them.
There you go. And also it taught you, to look past superficial because there were hidden doors everywhere. And you know what I mean? And you could just go in and get ammo and extra guns. And then, like, I remember just the voice actors were hilarious. It would just be like, goof rubber. And it would just be like, I don't know. I still can hear it in my head. Goof rubber.
It's funny, though, that you put this on there because both Doom and Wolfenstein were made by the same company.
ID, right?
ID, yeah.
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 Well, yeah, but no. I mean,
John Romero.
Yeah, Wolfenstein was just, you had to get keys. It was just a really great game that I enjoyed.
And any game where you get to blow the fuck out of Mecha Hitler is great.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, have you played any of the newer Wolfenstein games? The
No.
last two that came out? I played a little bit of the newest Wolfenstein game that came out. I'm going to say this, like, I didn't get too deep into the plot, but, I mean, plot is grab gun, kill Nazis.
Yeah,
Like,
right? It's pretty...
I don't think I need much more beyond that, but, I mean, like, the gameplay is great in that, actually.
Yeah.
It works out really well, and, like, they kind of went a little bit old school, like GoldenEye style with the dual wielding. It's still fun, though, so,
Yeah.
Probably a game I'm going to want to pick up. I hear the one that came up before it that was better, but I don't know. Like, I gotta get them both. I'll probably, I'm going to fire up the Xbox and see if I can get those games for cheap.
You should. You really should.
Yeah.
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 So that's my number one. Wolfenstein 3D.
All right. What did you... I just think it's funny that you and I are in total disagreement, though, with Doom.
Well, it's still on my list.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, what I mean by in total disagreement, I should have said how we flipped it.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
I mean... I think it's safe to say we both agree that it should be there regardless.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, and like I think you said too, it's just, if it wasn't for that one, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
For sure.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
Actually, you know what I think about? One other honorable mention I'd like to give is what was that Star Wars game? Republic Commando.
The original one for N64?
No, not that one. No, I was talking about Republic Commando. That one came out for, I want to say, the original Xbox.
Oh, I don't know. I never played it.
Yeah, it was one of the few Star Wars games that was actually like legitimately awesome. It was an interesting concept of you played a clone trooper, part of an elite, like a hit squad, of like a Black Ops squad.
Yeah.
Basically, and yeah, you commanded 3 other guys in your squad. You gave them orders and everything like that. And the mechanic I found most interesting was the way you switched weapons in that game.
Yeah.
Because you had like your basic 4 weapons. You had like the sidearm was its own thing, but like you had like a machine, you had like a rapid fire gun, you had like a long range weapon, and then you also had like a close quarters combat weapon, a la like a shotgun type of thing.
Oh, really?
But the cool thing about it though was like they were all had the same trigger.
Yeah.
So what you just basically did was you took the receiver off, and then you took the receiver off the sniper rifle and put on a shotgun if you needed to or something like that. So I like that game. It's a game that I wish they would, they left it on a cliffhanger, and I really wish they would come out with a sequel to it, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But, I think that's going to do it. Tom, is there anything else you'd like to say, Tom?
No, not really. Just follow me on Instagram, and I hope that we get to do this again. We'll do another list. Maybe we'll do like best RPGs or something someday.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I'm not the biggest RPG guy, but I mean, yeah. Definitely.
My Instagram is fake Tom Whalen, and so follow me.
All right, I'll leave that a link in the description below. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening to us very much. I hope you enjoyed us ranting and raving about nonsense.
Yeah.
Tom, as always, thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you, Kyle.
All righty, everybody. That's going to do it for us. And, oh, yes, I am going to be at a show at the Dime Bar in Hollywood on Fairfax on November the 5th. Show starts at 8 o'clock, so please be sure to be there. All right, everybody. Thank you once again, Tom. Thanks again.
Thank you, Kyle.
And everybody, thank you for listening. Bye.
Bye-bye.